Okay, got a couple of interesting things to look at this morning. This is not weird stuff in a can because these are not cans, obviously. But I picked these up in Marks and Spencer's the other day. This is pistachio butter, and it was on sale actually. It was reduced from £6 down to about £3.75, and it is made from pistachios, sugar, butter, whole milk, and that's about it, I think. And then this is drinking chocolate in a block form, and it is literally 100% cocoa solids. It actually says 100% cacao liquor, which basically means it's ground and mashed up cocoa beans with nothing added or taken away. So I think that'd be interesting. Let's have a look at this pistachio butter first. A bit weird the way they've put the label on the edge of the lid there, but we'll just slit that around there like that so we don't make a mess of it. It's very, very runny. I'm not quite sure what you're meant to do with this. Maybe it's meant to go on ice cream or something like that. I'm going to spread some on toast in a minute, but let's have a little taste on its own first. It doesn't look very good, but then pistachio nuts are green, so what do you expect? It looks like paint or something worse. Anyway, let's have a taste. Wow. Gosh. That is just really nice. It's so smooth. Smooth as silk. Nutty. Real pistachio flavour. Tastes sort of chocolatey almost. That's really amazing. I'm going to have some of that on toast in a moment. Let's have a look at this drinking chocolate. The thing that attracted me to this was the packaging. I really like this retro packaging, and it's a nice solid block of something which appealed to me as well. The directions for this are: use 2 chunks for a mug of hot chocolate. So you add chunks to milk and bring to a simmer, and then you melt it and add sugar to taste. So you just melt this. This is actually solid chocolate, but drinking chocolate. So it's a solid block of chocolate that you melt into milk to make a drinking chocolate beverage. Right, we're getting somewhere. Here we go. Oh, I see, so it's actually 2 bars in there of very dark, solid chocolate. So I'm going to take a couple of chunks of this, and I'm going to go and get some hot milk and make myself some toast for my pistachio butter. We'll be back in a moment. So we've got some nice lightly buttered toast, and I've got my hot chocolate here. So all I did was to take a couple of chunks of this and just shave it with the knife into the cup of hot milk. I've added 1 teaspoon of sugar, hopefully that's enough. But I thought it'd just be interesting actually just to taste this stuff as it is. It's not meant for eating directly like this, but I'm going to give it a try. It tastes incredibly chocolatey, but it's not something you'd want to eat as a chocolate bar. It's 100% cocoa, and so it's actually quite bitter and astringent and dry to the taste. So that's not the way to enjoy it. Hopefully this is. So it's made, well, it's made a very dark chocolate beverage, which is still got little pieces of cocoa in there. Let's have a taste. Oh, that's really good. That's very, very chocolatey hot chocolate, which is exactly what I like. So let's have a go at this pistachio butter. It's a bit like oobleck in its texture. I wonder if it is actually a non-Newtonian fluid. So the colour is actually olive drab. It's most unappetising colour. However, I think the taste will more than make up for that. Let's have a taste of that. I don't know quite how to describe this. If you like pistachio nuts, and if you like Nutella, then you're bound to like this. Now obviously this does contain dairy butter, but there's something about pistachio nuts, I think, that has a sort of creamy dairy taste, even without that. But this is really delicious. So that was reduced to clear in Marks and Spencer's, which I suspect means they're going to discontinue it. So if you want some of this and you're in the UK, I'd say get along to Marks and Spencer's and see if you can find some. That's if I don't get there first. Superb, and actually the combination of those two things, really stupendous. Delicious. Okay, sort of mini postbag time. Let's have a look and see what's turned up in the post today. This is something I bought on eBay. Right, and what it is, it's a little metal ferrule to go on the end of a walking stick. Stainless steel, little hole there for fixing with a pin, but I shall glue that onto the end of the walking stick that I'm building at the moment. So a video coming up on making a walking stick. So the other thing, and I'm quite excited about this, is this big mysterious bow tie shaped package. I do know what's in there. Keep the little nose out of the way, Eva. Wow, it's extremely well packed. And it has to be because there is a sharp blade in here. So it's a draw knife. And this is a woodworking tool for shaving bark off of sticks and shaving down logs and sticks into smaller pieces. I've never used a draw knife before, so it's going to be a learning experience figuring it all out. Let's just have a look at the blade. I'm glad that came off in one piece. Let's just have a look at the blade. So yeah, the draw knife for woodworking. Nice thick bit of steel, probably carbon steel by the look of it. So again, this is going to be used for my walking stick project. It's cutting ragged shavings because it's too blunt. I'm a bit disappointed with this draw knife. It said it was sharpened and ready to use, but it is nothing of the sort. So we're just going to go for a little wander and see if we can have a look at a few different things. Just a few different plants, maybe trees, maybe a few different sights and sounds. Okay, we're going to have a look at a plant that I haven't introduced before, but it's quite familiar to me. But first, let's just have a look at these. These are stinging nettles. We're very familiar with these. I picked some of these last week and made nettle soup. And these are proper stinging nettles. You touch these or brush your hand against these and you'll get badly stung, and that will be quite painful. Now these are the flower structures of true nettles. Stinging nettles have quite inconspicuous and non-showy flowers, so they're just these funny little brushes of little green bits. So that's stinging nettles. So memorise what those look like, and we'll have a look at something else in just a moment. So stinging nettles, and then here's something that looks a lot like a stinging nettle. In fact, look, it's growing right alongside it. The stinging nettle that side, this is not a stinging nettle, this side. And I can touch this and it will do me no injury at all, because this is actually what's known as a dead nettle. And it's not actually a nettle at all, it's a relative of mint and rosemary and thyme and all of that family of plants. But doesn't it look, here I'll put them side by side, doesn't it look a lot like a stinging nettle? This is a mimic, and as far as I know it's mimicking a stinging nettle to deter rabbits and things from eating it. But it has these little white flowers, so they're very different flowers to a stinging nettle. So there we go, dead nettle. It is edible, I believe. I don't know what it tastes like, I've never eaten it. I guess let's have a little sniff of the leaves. I have a feeling this is going to be slightly aromatic. Yeah, it's got an earthy sort of aroma to it, but I do believe it's edible. So this tree up ahead here, this is just common hawthorn. Now we looked at this last week. Now that's interesting. While we're here, I believe this plant is called yellow archangel, and it's the yellow version of a dead nettle. Isn't it pretty? So again, related to mint and thyme and all that family of herbs. Isn't that pretty? I bet the bees love that. And there's a whole load of it here in the ditch, all the way along there. Sorry, yes, I was interrupted. So this is common hawthorn, and we had a look at this at the orchard last week, and this is very typically how you see common hawthorn in a hedgerow like this. It's been trimmed back, but it seems to have taken very well to it, and so it has all of these white flowers that just face outwards, and it's got quite a long flowering season. Hawthorn, typically it's called Mayflower, and typically you will find some flowers starting to open on the 1st of May, and by the end of May it's all but finished. So we've got an interesting one there. It's a little bit of a pinkish tinge to some of the flowers, and that's something you do get with hawthorn. And sometimes you see a plant that's very pink, the flowers are almost entirely pink. And we'll see if we can find one of those today. So there up ahead is what I was describing. So I believe, we'll get a bit closer and have a look, but I believe that's common hawthorn, but it's just a pink flowered variety. Oh, Eva's been scared by something. What are you scared of, Eva? It's a standpipe. Okay, special. So there we are, yes, it's a common hawthorn, but the flowers are sort of rimmed with a pinkish tinge. Very pretty. Let's get close in and have a look. No, I think that's just part of the natural variability of hawthorn. It just does that. So this tree here, this is a different species of hawthorn. This is called Rome hawthorn, and it has slightly more flowers which are held upright rather than in all directions, and it has much larger berries or fruits, and the fruits will stay, the fruits are quite persistent. So it's May now, and these are the fruits from last year still there, but these provide a welcome source of food for the birds throughout the spring. So that's Rome hawthorn, quite pretty little flowers. And this tree here is another relative of hawthorn. This is called cockspur thorn, and it hasn't opened yet, the flowers haven't opened yet, but again, much larger flowers than common hawthorn, and plainer leaves, and larger berries, and slightly sort of pinkish berries these are, but they are slightly larger than the Rome hawthorn we just looked at. That's cockspur thorn. ran into me. Eva. She just crashed into me. Eva. Come on. So thanks for joining me on this little stroll along the hedgerows and looking at various things, including hawthorn and nettles today. Hope that was interesting. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.